Hi, I'm Melinda Kohler, the founder here at Roadmap. We are about to go on a journey to transform your career, and we're going to do it by building relationships, starting with your elevator pitch. Your elevator pitch is designed to give someone a reason to get excited about you, and it's designed for you to elicit someone else's elevator pitch so that you can use information to build a relationship with them. We're actually going to start with the listening piece because that'll make it a little bit easier for us to craft our own elevator pitch afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and say hello the roadmap way with my elevator pitch, and I'd like for you to listen for one thing while I do this pitch. So here goes. Hi, I'm Melinda Kohler, founder here at Roadmap. I've been building communities in tech for the last 10 years, and I most recently launched a community of 5,000 job searchers in a year and 9 months, and I'm really looking forward to learning more about you today. Okay, I'd like you to pause and consider if you heard anything in that elevator pitch that you remember. If you did, you would use that information to build a relationship with me. Something that you might have remembered is that I launched a community of job seekers. Specifically, I said I launched a community of 5,000 job seekers within a year and 8 months. So if you and I were talking, having a coffee chat or a networking call, at the end of that networking call, you might say, hey, Melinda, what you've been doing in tech, especially launching a community of 5,000 job seekers, that's really important work in the world. You know, you're the kind of person that I would want to work with. I saw an open role at Roadmap, and a referral from you would mean a lot. Okay, so that's the power of your elevator pitch. And consider that the power of your personal elevator pitch actually starts by listening to someone else and listening for knowledge that you can use to move a conversation forward, to move a relationship from inactive to highly active in you getting referrals for new jobs. So how do you build your own how are you going to build your own elevator pitch so that people can build relationships with you and tell you like, hey, I'd love to work with you. I'd love to refer you. My elevator pitch had 3 simple components. The most important piece of that elevator pitch is my key result. So to start with your elevator pitch, you're just going to ask yourself, hey, what am I most proud of in my career? What have I done that has a big impact? Or what are the results of some of the work that I have done? Let's take a look at an example. I'm going to share my screen from one of our Roadmap alum, Carla. You can see this teacher to tech. So when she joined Roadmap, she had been a teacher for over 10 years. In 10 weeks, and only 10 weeks, friends, she went from this profile to working on a customer experience team at a fast-growing startup in San Francisco. Now, Carla was a teacher in Houston. She gets to continue living in Houston, so this is actually a remote job as well. And so for all of you who joined thinking, I have to get a remote role, I want you to know that Carla joined open to all of the options. She did not join and say, I have to get a remote role in tech that will increase my salary by $25,000. She just happened to do that because she put relationships first and remained open-minded. So how did Carla go from teacher to customer success so quickly? It started with a really, really strong elevator pitch, specifically that key result that you heard in mine. Mine was, I launched a community of 5,000 job seekers within a year and 9 months. Very, very short and to the point. Carla's, with the help of my source analysis tool, 79% of students were scoring a solid 2, up from 58% at the beginning of the year. So let's stop sharing our screen and let's think about that. Carla was a teacher. Her elevator pitch said 79% of my students were scoring a solid 2, up from 58% at the beginning of the year. If she puts that into an elevator pitch, starting with that key result, it's a little bit simpler. So now we're going to expand on that key result. She would say, hi, I'm Carla White. I've been in education for over 10 years. Recently, with the help of my analysis tool, 79% of my students were scoring a solid 2, up from 58% at the beginning of the year. I'm really interested in learning more about your customer education roles. So I want you to use the key result method, meaning think about that substance first, that one thing that you're going to say, and just say it out loud. So I always start with my key result. Let's take a different elevator pitch from me this time. I have been building communities in tech for the last 10 years. So before I was here at Roadmap, I co-founded a company called almanac.io, and I launched a community that helped us raise $9 million while I was there. So I would say I recently launched a community of 350 contributors in tech to help raise $9 million for the startup Almanac. And to pull that into an elevator pitch, I would simply tack on that first piece, giving someone some idea of the context that I'm working in, right? So mine is I've been working in tech for 10 years, or I've been building communities for 10 years. I adjust that a little bit here and there depending on who I'm talking to. So let's just take my previous role at Almanac, where I launched a contributor community of 350 people to help raise $9 million. And I did that within a year and 3 months, so I would add that as well to make the impact really, really clear. So it sounds like this. Hi, I'm Melinda Kohler. I've been building communities in tech for the last 10 years, and I recently launched a community of 350 contributors to help us raise $9 million within a year and 3 months at almanac.io. I'm really interested in learning more about your community. Notice that that elevator pitch is 30 seconds. And notice that if you were a job seeker or someone looking to hire me, you have a reason to move the conversation forward. If I were interviewing, I would be interviewing for a director of community role. And I just empowered that CEO or that VP to ask me a powerful question. Hey, can you tell me more about that community of contributors that you launched? And this is really important. So this key result gives you so much power. Not only by you sharing a key result, someone else is going to share theirs so that you have the opportunity to build a relationship with them. But you sharing your key result, it means they're going to ask you about it. It's the most powerful tool in interviews and networking calls. You give someone information so that they can ask you about what you know. Otherwise, they're picking straws out of the sky trying to figure out what to ask you to get to know you. And you don't know where that's going to take you. And that's when things get scary. Oh my gosh, someone's going to ask me a question that I don't know how to answer. Someone's going to ask me about something in my career that's just really not as familiar to me. Maybe I haven't thought about it in a long time. No. You do this elevator pitch, just 30 seconds, leading with one key result. They're going to ask you about that. The majority of our alumni in Roadmap X report that when they do networking calls and phone screens using an elevator pitch, the interviewer just keeps coming back again and again to that powerful key result. Because you're going to deliver it with confidence. You're going to go to your Roadmap X cohort meetings and you're going to practice this every week for 10 weeks. Or if you're joining us from Roadmap Track and you are an independent person doing this all on your own, you're going to go out there and you're going to practice with your friends, you're going to go in our Slack community, and you are going to practice introducing yourself for 30 seconds. So now it's your turn. I want you to think about one powerful thing that you have done in your career. And then I want you to think about how you're going to provide a little bit of context, the scope of how long you've been doing this. Maybe you've been in a specific skill area for a few years. Right? So open with that, move to your key result, and then close it up by passing the baton back. So let's just take a look at what this looks like visually for us to get a structure in our heads. Just a moment while I share my screen here. So you're going to give us the context of your impact area, right? I've been working in this skill area for a certain amount of time. If you're newer in your career and this amount of time does not help you, there are other ways to quantify the impact. I've been working with, over 100 customers. I recently increased conversion rate by 10% by rethinking our discovery call process. And I'm really excited to learn more about your customers, right? So go for that amount of time if it's at least a couple of years. If not, there's other ways to scope it out. So we're going to build this so that it builds to your strengths, right? Most importantly, before you go into the structure too much, Just think about that key result and practice saying it out loud. I also want to tell you, it doesn't work as well as you would think to write it out first. Really going through the exercise verbally, you and I here together, you saying your key result aloud, then adding in that context and then passing the baton back is going to pull it together. And it's practicing saying it. There will be some written forms of your elevator pitch that we'll get to in our next sessions called your networking blurb. So you get a chance to lay it all out in written form. But this is verbal. This is spoken. We don't write the way that we speak. So we're going to talk about a couple more things here. Notice that I say, give us the scope of your work according to your skill area. Now, if you have held titles that are similar to the titles that you are targeting, then you can mention those titles. I've been a product manager for the past 3 years at Amazon. Hey, if you have that background, throw it out there. But if you don't, if you are pivoting careers and you think right now today that you don't have any experience in your new career field, stop and guess again. Whatever you've been doing in your career so far has some overlap with so many different roles that you might be targeting or that you might target. So what you want to do is you want to look for those skills where you have specific experience that you can pull out. So we're going to talk about another Roadmap X alum. Aaron Leviti joined us to break into localization. That's a role in tech where you are translating language into foreign languages in apps and products, right? When Aaron joined Roadmap, he said, oh, well, I've only been translating for a year. Okay, so his elevator pitch at first, I've been a translator for a year and I'm looking to get into localization. Well, 1 year wasn't the greatest impact that we could make for that scope of work, right? We found out that Aaron had actually been in writing and editing for over 10 years. He'd just been doing it in a creative industry. He was a filmmaker. We removed that filmmaker from it, and we just say, well, Aaron's been writing and editing for over 10 years. Oh, he's also been speaking fluently English and Italian for his entire life. So it now becomes, I've been fluent in English and Italian for my entire life, editing and writing for the last 10 years. Recently, I became a #1 translator for English to Italian within 4 months at, I don't remember the name of the company, friends. Recently, I became a #1 translator from English to Italian for 4 months at this company, and I'm really excited to learn more about your localization needs. Okay, let's try that again. So Aaron, who only had a year of official professional experience translating at an agency, came in and he was saying, yeah, I've only been doing this thing for a year. I hope someone hires me. Well, okay. Aaron hadn't been getting interviews. He'd been trying for 6 months, applying everywhere he could. Built his elevator pitch, went back out there, and he landed interviews. In fact, he wound up landing a localization role at Apple. So it works. All right. I've been speaking Italian and English my whole life, working in writing and editing for the last 10 years. I recently became a #1 translator within 4 months from English to Italian, and I'm really excited to learn more about your localization needs. That one's Aaron's pitch that got him there. So again, you're going to start with your key result, and then you're going to think about how to show us some context with a little bit of that scope of the context, right? And then you're just going to pass the baton back to really build a solid relationship. A couple things to keep in mind. Notice that my elevator pitch is short, and all of us as Roadmap X alum, we have short elevator pitches. They are short and they are punchy, and we just give you the stuff, right? So keep it short. Only share one memorable achievement. If you share more than one, no one's going to remember it. If you get to networking calls or interviews and you see the other person, it means you said too much. Remember that your pitch is designed to build a relationship. It's not to tell a story. In fact, you want to share one tiny little thing so that they ask you more. You don't want to share the big picture. And then lastly, again, we talked about this. It really doesn't matter how it looks in written form. This is about how you sound. This is about how you feel. Do whatever you need to do to feel strong when you are saying this pitch. If you need to walk around your house and you need to scream it out of the top of your lungs for a few minutes, then do it. And then come back to all of us, post in our Slack community, say, hey, I'd love to do a quick coffee chat with someone and introduce yourself with your elevator pitch. And at the end of the call, say, hey, do you happen to remember anything from my elevator pitch? And I bet you they will. I can't wait to see your elevator pitch. I know we're making a really big ask from you. We're saying, do an elevator pitch, record it, and upload it. Don't worry. We are going to review your elevator pitch before we send it out to all of our friends who are hiring. We know how to work with you to bring out your strengths. So if we see areas for more opportunity, we will reach back out before we get it out there. But you doing this today is the first step towards relaunching your career. And it can be extremely powerful. We have found that the people who stop what they're doing in their busy day and do this within the first 24 hours are like 5 times more likely to be on that list of people who land their next big role within 10 weeks and increase their salary by at least 20%. So the point is to just work through it, get it out there, and we'll keep tweaking and iterating as we get to know each other. Okay, really excited to meet you, really excited to see your elevator pitch.